Hi everyone, it's Mario Vegas and welcome back to the Tank Zone. How many of you played a match and lost that, and then played this match again with quite a similar matchmaking, a similar or same map, and repeat awesome victory? I guess every one of us, right? There are a huge number of reasons that may influence the outcome of the match, but nevertheless, I would like to summarize some of the, in my opinion, main mistakes that are crucial to avoid if we want to increase our success in the match. So I decided not to make a top of them, but just summarize the main and most critical mistakes. And the first mistake that I would like to point out is unprotected flank. It is a really serious mistake, and I saw that playing matches with any tier, no matter tier 10 or tier 2, you can come across situation when a team is leaving the open flank. Unprotected flank is a serious threat to your team integrity. It doesn't matter if you are defending or attacking. If you have an empty flank, then sooner or later the enemy may exploit that flaw, and then your team may be in a difficult situation. So, it should directly remind you one of the previous episodes when we looked at flanking maneuver. If we leave an empty and poorly protected flank, then you are kind of preparing a kind of a gift for opponent team, granting them an opportunity to perform flanking maneuver without pretty much any resistance. So it's a gift for an enemy. For those who just started to play, let me remind you that you must think and visualize your team as a kind of tank with a strong frontal protection, right? And much more vulnerable sides. So the broken flank gives the opponent opportunity to target your team from two pretty much more or less perpendicular directions, and your team will find itself in twice as difficult situation as before. So it is very important mistake to avoid. So another mistake that I observe in quite often is inappropriate use of vehicle according to the class. It might sound obvious, but numerous times I saw players using their vehicles absolutely wrong way, the way it is not meant to be used. And I do not talk about situations when you literally are forced to do a task that is not suitable for your vehicle because you were caught in a situation that changed so swiftly, so quickly, and unexpectedly that you have no other choice but just to respond as good as best as you can. In these inevitable situations, you must switch on your ingenuity and experience in a double and try to repel enemies, spot them for your teammates, harass them as much as possible, and sometimes just performing technical wonders, or sometimes do unexpected maneuvers, or sometimes just to hold on while your teammates will come to help you. So I don't talk about such situations, no. I talk about situations when a player chooses and goes for unsuitable task for vehicle. And quite often that decision costs a huge price, not only for a player, but it may create difficult situation for a whole team to succeed in the match. Say, for example, if player with a brawler tank sits in a tank destroyer spot, then that position is already taken, occupied, right? This tank cannot provide a precise long-range targeting as tank destroyer, right? And eventually may miss plenty targets. And on top of that, somewhere in the front, at a choke point, teammates may struggle to repel enemy tank attack, and your tank is needed there. So, and say vice versa, if player with paper arm tank destroyer goes for a close range combat frontal clash with the other mbts, well, a very likely outcome will be obvious. So one vehicle can made a significant difference, so therefore try to use it for the task it is most suitable for this vehicle, and do not be scared to fail. No one of us became a productive tank player in one day, right? The more you play, the more you fail, and the more you analyze, and the more you adjust your tactics and gameplay, the sooner you will become pro. You will never become a pro, say scout pro, or say scout pro sitting in tank destroyer spots. You will never become a heavy tank pro sitting in tank destroyer spots, and you will never become tank destroyer pro if you will continue to go and clash with main battle tanks in close combat. So use your vehicle as it is meant to be used. So next mistake is stationary gameplay without changing position. Well, stationary gameplay can be very productive sometimes, same as it can be a crucial mistake, especially if we talk about dynamic matches when tactical layout of a battlefield changes quite significantly and quite rapidly. Downside of holding to position is that you must understand that if situation requires either retreat or advance, then quite often, if not always, your position must be changed accordingly. Not to be cut off your allies, surrounded and destroyed in case if we talk about retreat, and not to be left behind and become quite useless a part of your team because you cannot effectively target, spot, or push enemies anymore if we talk about advancing. Let me say a couple of words about both tactical moves, which are retreat and advance. It is very important to have in mind secondary positions. We talked about secondary positions in one of the previous episodes on Tank Zone. Secondary positions to retreat too, because in case enemy forces will be so overwhelming, you will be able to retreat to those secondary positions and continue to provide fire from there, therefore creating appropriate depth of the defense. It is much more effective to retreat and continue to fight from the secondary positions rather than hold on to your position till the end and be destroyed, decrease your team's numbers, and continue to fuel enemies' initiative even more. Regarding attack, it is even more obvious if you will stick to your position, then we cannot talk about attack. Because classical attack means moving forward, advancing, pushing and suppressing enemy forces. So therefore, at one point, Sooner or later you must have a forward movement, reposition to get better aim and targeting opportunities and push the enemy and not to lose trust of your attack and overall initiative. So, but how to know when to move forward and or where to when to retreat? Um, it is a good question. I personally use my own rule of, I call it equality of strength. Say, for example, if you are using tank destroyer on a flank, and you have three main battle tanks in a front, and one APV with them, then if they are confronted with the same amount, same strength, then everything is okay, you work normal. If that balance starts to tip in enemy favor, you work even harder to stop the enemy, to harass them even more. When you see that enemy will wipe that formation out in a matters of seconds, then you're still shooting, you're still trying to repel them and to try to create as much damage to them as possible. But keep in mind that you um, soon will be required to retreat, and when this formation is wiped out, you retreat if it's possible, of course. And you must retreat without any doubt or any hope that you will be able to stop enemy forces single-handed. No way, because 99% of the time it is not possible. They are many and they will get you anyway. So you must retreat. Another example would be main battle tank close combat, same equality principle, only this time if you meet the overwhelming enemy force, you must work and try to communicate and retreat as a group. It is best way how to perform if you can communicate quickly with your teammates to avoid distraction and therefore make the enemy pay for every step they are closing on. So, and here I would like to switch to the next mistake, which is ignorance of the minimap. A minimap is an important part of a gameplay and great battlefield tactical layout visualization tool. Probably a lot of new players are not used to using minimap and do not see it as those that play for years. But minimap is an absolutely valuable and must be used in every single match. Ideally, you should check minimap always before and when you do any kind of maneuver, anything what you deciding to change your position or whatever, you should check minimap before you do that. During the static periods of a game, you should frequently check the situation and tactical layout of both teams to have maximum information about both teams' positions, moves, and any changes that may turn out very crucial. If necessary, you must ping and inform your allies about threats, tactical changes, opportunities, or even your own positional changes. I quite often ping on minimap, ping on myself, and show my team where I will go. So let them know, inform them. So my vehicle will go from this position to that position, so they can adjust their tactics, so they know what I will do. At least that you can do in a match. Additionally, minimap is a great tool to check equality of strengths, what we talked before, at any level, at teams level, at flanks or battle groups level. So it is crucial not to ignore minimap. And Another mistake that I observe quite often is that the players or player pushing the enemy instead of pulling them, or vice versa. Uh, Especially that applies to the situations when those players struggle to do that kind of maneuver. For example, struggle to push enemy. Say if you struggle with push enemy, you may consider to pull the enemy out of a cover to open area for teammates, tank destroyers, and other support vehicles to target those opponent vehicles. And that maneuver mostly applies to main battle tanks and AFVs. So basically, to lure the enemy out of the cover under your teammates' fire. And it is not a problem and nothing to be ashamed of. At the end of the day, the main aim of the game is to win the match. And if you help to destroy the opponent, you are doing right thing. So if you are not able to push, then pull them out. And if you are not able to pull them out and lure them out under your teammates' fire, then consider to push them a little bit harder. But do not be suicidal on that. And this somehow correlates with the next and last mistake that I would like to address today, and it is falling out of battle group, or in other words, basically saying going alone in a battle. It is often when some players decide to do that kind of move, uh, who knows why? Maybe they want to show off. Maybe they want to create and give initiative to the team, to inspire the team. I don't know. I don't know. But one thing I know for sure is that the battle cannot be won and cannot be fought single-handed. And basic and smallest fighting unit is pair. It is 2 units. One unit shooting, another covering, and blah blah blah, things like that. And that most productive and powerful gameplay can be performed by battle group. Pair is minimum and optimum is a battle group 3, 4, or at the best 5 units working together. And for those who still hesitate and want to run into the battle alone, let me give you a visual example. Tell me, how many directions one man main battle tank can fire at and be safely protected at the same time? So the answer is one direction. One direction you can shoot and one direction you are protected. It is your front, right? So you have vulnerable sides, vulnerable rear. Let's continue with the question. How many directions 2 main battle tanks can fire and be protected at the same time? Answer is 2. How many 3? Answer is 3. How many 4? It is 4 directions, 4 main battle tanks, or 4 vehicles working together. They can shoot in 4 different directions. They can be protected in 4 different directions. It is much more effectively not to go alone. At least go as a pair. At the best, go 3 or 4 vehicles together. Then you will be very, very much more protected battle group. And so, can you feel that that power of the battle group? And it is not only a protection I'm talking about, and or firepower that makes the battle group so effective. Say, if one tank loses commander or gun aside, another tank can still spot the enemy. If you run out of the smoke grenades or recharging them, there is at least a chance to get cover behind your teammates' vehicle, or they may consider to use their smoke grenades or generators. In battle groups, you will have a bigger, larger, ammo diversity, and much more diverse capabilities, rather than if you go in a battle alone. So if you leave the battle group, there must be a very, very important, very significant reason why you're doing that. And if there is not such a reason, please, then my strongest advice is stay with your teammates. So, and that is it for today. Thank you for watching and following Tank Zone. You are great, guys. All your support and all your comments are great. So, if you have something to say, leave that in your comments. I wish you a wonderful day, success in the game, and I will see you in the next episode.